So hello everybody and welcome, my name is Old School Pooley and welcome to the first part of my fully complete and commentated playthrough of Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. Just give a bit of background with my experience with the Metal Gear Solid series. Metal Gear Solid 3 is probably one of my favourite PlayStation 2 games of all time. I have played through that original game a lot of times, including getting the best rank in the game, Foxhound. So I'd like to say I'm a little bit of an expert on this game. It's one of my favourite games. Well, since it was released in 2004, I've probably played it at least once a year. That's how much I love the game. But not saying that 1 and 2 aren't brilliant games in their own right, but 3 just has that lightning in a bottle for me. It's my favourite game in the entire series anyway. But introductions aside, let's begin. So I've already done a completed playthrough of this game. However, now that I've completed it once, I feel that I am in the best position to show you how to get the maximum rank, which is Foxhound, on Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. To get max rank in this game, you have to beat the game under the following parameters. Firstly, you have to play on extreme difficulty, or European extreme difficulty. The only difference between the two difficulties is that European extreme, the game ends as soon as you get seen by the enemy, and it just makes restarting a little bit easier. But in terms of extreme, Snake's health bar will be 2/3 lower than what it usually is. Enemies will have higher detection rates, and they will also hit a lot harder as well. So yeah, it is the hardest difficulty in the game. The second parameter is that the playtime has to be under 5 hours or less. Unfortunately, I can't include the cutscenes or any of the codec conversations or any of the interesting dialogue that there is in this game included, because otherwise it'll take the game time above 5 hours and we won't be able to get Foxhound rank, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to cut a lot of the cutscenes in this game, which is a real shame, because anyone who's played a Metal Gear Solid game will tell you that it's half film, half game, and it's a perfect amalgamation between the two genres. Hideo Kojima has always been documented in saying that he wants to make films, but not only is he a great video game developer, you can really see his talent when it comes to making movies, and it really, in the Metal Gear Solid series in particular, you can really see that. But it's a shame I can't include any of the cutscenes for the playthrough, because that's part of the parameters. Thirdly, you have to beat the game and not use any continues whatsoever. So if you get a game over, you will have to quit out and reload your save. If you hit continue, then you won't be able to get max rank. Fourth, you cannot get any alert phases in the game whatsoever. An alert phase will trigger if the enemy sees Snake at any point. So throughout the entire playthrough, you cannot get seen by the enemy a single time. Caution phase and evasion phase do not count. They don't contribute towards an alert phase, but it goes without saying you need to maximize your stealth, using camouflage, being careful, and understanding the enemy patrol patterns is absolutely crucial to making sure that they never ever see you. Fifth, you must ensure that you do not kill a single human in your playthrough. Animals do not count. You need to hunt for animals in order to survive the jungle, which is the setting that we're going to be in. They do not count. In terms of human kills, there are some exceptions. There are a couple of boss battles in the game where killing using a lethal weapon does not count, and I'll talk about them a little bit later. But for every single enemy in the game, you need to use a non-lethal way of taking care of them, bosses included. The only exceptions to this is if you're on the if, for example, if you accidentally shoot an explosive barrel and then there's an enemy nearby, it won't count as a kill. In the chase sequence towards the end of the game, if you shoot the pursuing motorcyclists, it won't count as a kill if you tranquilize them. So yeah, there are a few caveats to this, but in Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, thankfully you can check and keep tally of all the enemy kills that you've got in the game to that point. So if you do unfortunately kill an enemy, you can always reload your save. You haven't got to go to the end of the game in order to see the tally of exactly how many that you've killed, which is a welcome change. Sixth, you cannot get any more than 20 serious injuries. That's pretty self-explanatory. In terms of saves, you cannot save more than 25 times. It has to be 25 times or less, otherwise you can't get max rank. In terms of total damage that you receive, it has to be less than 5 life bars. Any more, then you won't get max rank. You can't use any life medicine. Life medicine is a consumable that you can find in the field that does restore Snake's life gauge. Thankfully, there are ways that Snake can restore his life without having to use that. So it really isn't necessary, but just make sure you don't use any life medicine throughout your playthrough. And then finally, you can't use any special items. And special items are the easy gun, which makes sneaking incredibly easy. There's also infinity face paint, which gives you infinite ammo. And there's also the stealth camouflage. If you use any of these items during a single playthrough, then it will completely invalidate your run. So just bear that in mind. And in terms of our playthrough for the Foxhound rank, I will be playing on New Game Plus, just because there's a lot of camo that I unlocked in the my first playthrough that I really want to use in this playthrough. So I am going to be playing on New Game Plus. It won't affect the overall experience. There are some special items, but I won't be using them, obviously, because if I do so, then I won't be able to get a Foxhound rank. But I hope you guys enjoy the playthrough. Let's get started.
After the end of World War II, the world was split into two, East and West. This marked the beginning of the era called the Cold War.
And as mentioned earlier, unfortunately, I'm going to have to be skipping the cutscenes. One of the biggest changes I really wish they did in this game was just have the ability to actually watch the cutscenes and not have it affect the game time. Just because if you are going for a Foxhound rank playthrough, you won't be able to enjoy everything the game has to offer. But anyway, welcome to Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it, saying all of that? But I hope you can see with the Unreal Engine and the 3D panoramic camera just how great the game looks. I think Konami have done a really good job. I mean, a lot of people think what they like to about Konami, but you have to give credit where it's due. They've done a really good job with this remaster. The game looks really, really good. Anyway, so this is the Virtuous Mission. This really serves as a tutorial for the main mission of the game. All things being well, we should get through this area in about 5 to 10 minutes, providing that we don't run into any difficulties. It's not very long at all. Right, so now that we've got our backpack, we get introduced to the survival view. Now, the survival viewer makes a return from the original game. This is how you would used to change your camouflage. It's all still there. The items in your backpack, so you can select and deselect items or weapons to have in your person. And also how you can use and eat food that Snake has captured. However, there are some shortcut options that are that have been added to this game. If you press up on the D-pad or hold up, you'll get given a camouflage menu, and you can actually change camouflage on the fly, which I really, really like, just because it doesn't interfere with the gameplay. And you can also access the radio faster as well. If you hold down on the D-pad, you can quickly save, and then you can tune a frequency on the radio. It's far faster than going onto the radio screen. So I really like those features. In terms of aiming, as you can see, this is the over-the-shoulder view with the new style of control. And in my opinion, it's far superior to the original version. You can still aim in first-person view if you press the R1 button. You've still got that available, so don't feel that you have to use the new style in terms of aiming your weapon. Right, so let's get going. Now, this first area is a crocodile-infested swamp. If you try and run through the swamp, directly to the other side, you are not going to make it. You'll drown before you get there just because it is like quicksand. So you won't make it. Best way to come, avoid the crocodiles, roll across to here, be careful making sure you avoid them, and then roll across to here. One thing I really like, even though we're not going to be watching the cutscenes, because Snake has rolled through mud, in the next cutscene you'll actually see that it's reflected in the cutscenes. So, as you can see, he's absolutely plastered in mud, which is a nice little attention to detail. Right, so now we get introduced to enemy sentries for the first time. Best way to come, I've found, come through this log down here. Make sure your camo is high. So in order to maintain good stealth in this game, as I mentioned earlier, make sure your camo index is as high as possible. Be wary of enemy patrols and just make sure that you're very careful around them. So try not to move around in this bush because the enemy will notice you. Even though our camo is high, you still will make noise. And with the 3D panoramic camera, as you'll see, it's very, very easy to just watch him closely. In the original, you wouldn't be able to do this. But anyway, let's go. We don't have to deal with him. We'll let him be. Let's equip that snake that we got earlier. You can actually use one of my favourite parts about Metal Gear Solid 3's Snake Eater is you can actually use live animals as distractions and even as weapons. So if you chuck this live snake at this soldier,
What's that sound?
we'll use our snake here just to distract him. So while his attention is diverted, let's quickly crawl over here. That's one of my favourite things about Metal Gear Solid 3 is you can use live animals just as distractions or even as weapons against the enemy. Right, so now we're through there. The only thing that we have to do here is shoot at that hornet's nest up there, and then that will get rid of all the soldiers in this area. Very, very easy, although the next time that we come through here, when we start the main mission, will be a lot more difficult. There are some items under the bridge. Don't worry about them, just because any items that you grab in the tutorial will not carry over to the base game, so just leave them where they are, and then we'll get them a bit later on. Right, so this is the final bit of the tutorial, and this is the trickiest part. Our objective is in that factory there, but the factory is absolutely littered with a lot of enemy sentries. Let's just get our camo index up. In fact, let's go into camouflage. Just because in our pop-down menu, not every camouflage is shown, and we have got quite a lot. So let's see if we can pick a better one out of the survival viewer. We'll go with DPM. DPM is one of my favourites. So the best way to go, in my opinion, is to come this way and hug this fence here. Just be careful of that enemy sentry there. We are 95% camo, but just be sure just to go slowly, just so we don't get his attention. But if you hug this fence here, go all the way around the outside, it will make getting to the objective a lot easier. Because where we're actually going is up there onto that roof. And then from that roof we can drop down to where we actually need to go and rescue Sokolov. So come this way. There are a couple of enemy sentries over here though. There's one. And then there's another one just further ahead. Another one there. Right, we'll crawl past him. Take him out. Might have to move him actually, just because his friend's going to find him, so we'll move him. If we bring him over here, his friend won't find him. Quickly go up onto the roof. Make sure you get low while on the roof, because they can still spot you. Let's change our camo to something a bit more urban. Now, they can still hear you on the roof when you're crawling, so if you want to maintain stealth, if you hold the L1 button, you'll go into stalker mode, and as long as you're in stalker mode, you won't make any sound. What we actually need to do is drop down from the roof, and then in where that soldier is, just up there, there's a sentry down there. Don't think I can tag him from where I am. Yes.
Huh? Who was that?
We need to take him out down there, but
Nobody here.
as you can see, we have to be careful. We almost got spotted then. And then when the time is right, we'll drop down. Slows. Didn't think he was going to turn around. You can walk across the beam up there, and you can jump directly down on top of him, but I'm not going to risk it. It's a pretty good, fun way of doing it, but oh, get down, get down, get down, get down. That must be the other soldier waking up. Even though we've tranked him, they will get up rather quickly. I think they're down for about a couple of minutes, so that's the thing about Extreme. Tranquilizer rounds don't last for long. And neither does taking the enemy down with CQC either, so you do have to move quickly if you want to make a bit of progress.
He's a member of
And that's pretty much the tutorial done. As I said, no items carry over into the main mission, so there's no point searching any of the soldiers. Unfortunately, I have to skip all of these amazing cutscenes, but at least the playthrough is going to be centered completely around gameplay, which I think is the thing that most people want to see from a playthrough. I think enough people know the original game enough by now. I mean, it came out in 2004, so hardly spoiler alert. There's just one segment where we have to heal Snake's wounds just because he does take a tumble off the bridge thanks to the boss, but that's the only thing that we need to do for the tutorial. And this serves as a tutorial to treating Snake's wounds in case he becomes seriously injured. Right, so let's cure Snake of his wounds then. if you actually look to your left here, I know I'm not skipping the cutscene, but that is actually the corpse of the Sorrow, who we'll meet a little bit later, who's one of the Cobra unit. And the Cobra units kind of serve as the game's bosses, the big bads that you need to defeat. Right, so that is the tutorial over. Just under 10 minutes, which is good.
So
Good
how does
time.
it feel to be a... Yesterday, the...
Right, so this is Operation Snake Eater. This is where the game really begins. There are no enemy sentries in the first two areas of the game, so don't worry about firing your weapon. No enemies will hear it. Just spend a bit of time in these first two areas just to forage for items, because we are inevitably going to have to find food, just because this mission is a lot longer than the first mission, so just spend a bit of time just foraging for items. If you look at the base of trees, if you do see certain plants, you can actually forage medicinal items from them, so just keep an eye out. I think one of these trees have a Gulovas, I think, which would be really good. Gulovas are jackfruit, and they're one of the best items that you've got in order to eat. But I can't quite remember where they are. Excuse me. Now, the first thing you need to do immediately, after that skip cutscene, is come over here. In that cutscene, the boss actually destroyed the drone that we came in on, which means that enemy soldiers are on their way to us. If you hide behind this tree here, we can actually evade these two here. Now, there are going to be more enemies on the way, so we'll have to do this quite quickly.
Patrol here. We have evidence of an enemy intruder. Commence alert formation.
Once both enemies have gone past, come over here and move quickly. Let's change our camouflage. There's an enemy over there. Now, what you want to do here is stick to the left here, all the way to the left. Try and get maximum camo of 95, so all black uniform. And there is a group of enemies coming over here, which are the reinforcements that soldier radioed in. If you stick all the way to the left here and stay completely still, they should not see you. But just make sure you stay cool and stay still, and that you're all the way to the left. If they do step on you, then they will be alerted to you. That's why you need to stay over to the left. They are going to be very close. But as long as you're still, there they go. It's one thing I love about Metal Gear Solid games. It's I know in the modern games you can do a lot of running and gunning if you so choose, but I really do think the best part about Metal Gear is the ability to sneak around groups of enemies, and it really does just give you a thrill unlike no other game. This really is the best way to best experience the game, in my opinion, is just go in complete stealth. Right, we don't really want to take out many enemies here, or knock a few of them out, because if they get discovered by their comrades, it means that caution mode is going to be extended, so we just need to be more evasive, really. And try not to bring too much attention to ourselves. So there's a few enemies on that bridge over there. There is one coming back over as well. When that soldier walks past, we'll slip into that hedge down there.
HQ.
This is HQ.
Patrol here. Unable to locate the problem.
Down here.
Understood. Return to your position.
Right, we can't take him out yet, just because his friend is coming across the bridge. And he'll see us, so we'll just have to sit tight for a minute. So the original Metal Gear Solid 3 came out in 2004, so that was 21 years ago, which is crazy, because I remember the day this game came out, and I was absolutely hooked. I loved it. It's got the, in my opinion, it has the pacing of the first game in terms of the plot, but then it expands on the gameplay that number 2 really tried to improve upon, and it perfected it. So I think it's a perfect amalgamation of the first 2 games. Plus I love the jungle setting, because it really suits Metal Gear Solid's gameplay down to a T, especially with the ability to try and be stealthy. It's and it also makes a nice change in pace, because normally Snake likes to sneak around in urban environments, and obviously this is the jungle, so which is a whole different beast. Right, now he's going away. We can deal with him. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a hold of him, try and get some information out of him, because you can actually interrogate soldiers for information. Some of them won't give you any, but some of them will. And you'll be surprised what you can actually learn. They'll tell you where certain secrets are. They'll even give you special frequencies to call off caution mode and things like that. So yeah, it's quite useful to try and get as much information out of soldiers as possible. But what we're going to do is choke him, just so he's knocked out for a little bit longer. And then that should give us a window just to grab the items under the bridge, and then take the other soldiers out.
Speak. While falling, press the action button above branches.
Answer me.
Under the rope bridge. Flatten yourself against the cliff wall and proceed.
So he's telling us about a secret item. It's under the rope bridge. Right, so when there's a lot of stars over his head, it means he's going to be out for a little bit longer, which is good. So that should give us a window to go and take out the other soldiers down here. Quickly take him out. He won't be down for long though. If you do subdue an enemy with CQC that way, they won't be down for long. Whilst if you use the tranquilizer gun, or if you choke them out, they will be down for a little bit longer. We don't really want to go into caution mode going into the next area, because if we are in caution mode, there's going to be soldiers in the next area. If we're in normal mode, there won't be any at all, so we've got to be quick here, just getting these items under the bridge. There is also a camo under there called Raindrop. I've already picked it up in my first playthrough, but it is also down there as well. Right, just be careful here. As he says, just make sure you flatten yourself against the wall. Otherwise, you'll hang off the ledge, and you don't really want to do that, which is what I've just done there. Some smoke grenades. Right, we've got to be fast here. Just because those soldiers aren't going to be down for long and we really don't want to go into caution mode, so let's leg it now to the next area. Right, we haven't got to worry about any enemies here at all now. So, here we can actually pick up a few items that we can use for the rest of our mission. And there's quite a few items here. Very important ones. Not that we really need this weapon, but if you do want to get yourselves the AK, it is up here. It is useful on a couple of boss battles, even though we're doing a non-lethal playthrough. Then next on our list, the best friend of any player of Metal Gear Solid, the cardboard box. This thing is your best friend, so make sure that you always equip it. Really valuable tool to make sure the enemy don't see you, and you need to put the box on and just stay in an area for a little while just before you move. You're able to move on. And then the other two items that are here are the mine detector, which we'll need in the next area, couple of areas from now, and then the thermal goggles. And if you've selected Flectarn at the start of the game, if you say, I like Metal Gear Solid 3, you can actually use this equipment without worrying about battery consumption at all. So, right, and then now we've got a cutscene. We'll have the opportunity to save as well. And then we are going to get ambushed by the Ocelot unit again. It is technically the first boss battle of the game, just because when you play boss rush, you will have to fight the Ocelot unit as part of it, so the game does count it as a boss. Right, first things first, we need to equip our new weapons, so let's get the Mark 22 out, the M1911, and get our smoke grenades equipped. Don't think we need anything else. And then we actually need to use the hatch that Eva used to leave. So if we go into the hatch after her, come out this way and then go right in a second. And then this will lead us outside. Now the Ocelot unit are a bit smarter and harder than your average grunts, so the cardboard box will not work on them, and they're a bit sharper as well, so definitely want to make sure that your camo's decent. Take him out. There's two enemies here. Right, they're now storming the room that me and Eva were just in that cutscene. Stay low here, and the reason why you want to stay low here is there's actually a sniper on the roof behind us. Turn around. Get a headshot on him, ideally. And then, as they've stormed into the room, we can actually feed them a stun grenade.
He's not here? What? Not here?
And that took a couple of them out, which is great. Sometimes you can take one, sometimes, yeah, taking two of them out I'm really happy with, because it's a bit hit and miss with stun grenades whether they'll take them out in the initial blast, but thankfully we did. Now the Ocelot unit There are 4 soldiers that are actively searching the area for you, and then all the others, the other 6 others, are in fixed areas. We're going to take out the ones in fixed areas first, and then we'll hunt down the remaining 2, because we've already taken 2 out from that stun grenade. Just come along the way that we went in the Virtuous Mission, only in reverse. And then the last one, if you actually... the last of the ones that are positioned. If you come behind this barrel here, go into first person view and then press R3. You can actually get a shot on him without actually exposing yourself. Right, now we've got to deal with the last 2. And as I said, these 2 are going around the entire area looking for you, so... see if we can distract them, lure them actually with a bit of noise. Doesn't work. It must be the other side. Right, they're probably going to come over here now because they're going to wonder where on earth that grenade's just come from. Oh, they took one of them out. That was good. Right, just got to deal with the last one. As mentioned, they are tough, so don't let your guard down with them. They're not your average grunts. Now, one of these soldiers actually has the suppressor for an MK with the MK22, so it's definitely worth searching the enemies after as well. I don't know where he is. I've only got 25 camo. I need to move. Where is he? There he is. There he is. Let's chuck a smoke grenade on him. Sweet dreams. Right, now that they're all taken out, let's search the bodies and let's see if we can find that suppressor. So he doesn't have it. Does this chap have it, I wonder? Oh, he's got a ration. If we can't pick it up, it doesn't matter. But it just would be handy, because the last thing that you want, the biggest liability that you've got, is having a tranquilizer gun without a suppressor. So it's really important that we get some more. Otherwise, the tranquilizer gun is not going to help us at all. I know there's a couple I knocked out in this room. I've never ever taken 2 out with that stun grenade before. Ever. I think that's the item. I think that's it there. Yes. So we've got ourselves another another suppressor for the MK22. Right, now we're pretty much done here. There is an item that you need to grab before you carry on. Very, very important. Make sure you grab the bug juice there, just because we are going to be going into leech-infested waters in a minute. There is a camo here, though it's not here in my playthrough. I think it's zombie face camo, I think. But make sure you pick that up. Do I have the crocodile cap? Oh, we've got the pre-order one. I'm going to take the suppressor off just because we don't need it because there's no enemies in this bit. So it's always worth, if you can, just preserving your suppressors just because they do degrade with repeated shots. So any enemies where any areas where there's no enemies, you're best off just unequipping the suppressor and just firing it without the suppressor. Now, if you've got some grenades, you can actually kill the alligators by tossing a grenade into their mouth. I didn't actually know you could do that until really recently. Not that I've got grenades to demonstrate that on, but we are going to kill one of these crocodiles just because we need the meat. So let's get the bug juice equipped just because we don't want any leeches getting onto us. Just be careful when you're in the water because the crocs will come after you. Where's that meat gone? Oh god, has it sunk to the bottom? Can't see it. Water's too murky. Okay, we'll carry on just because the danger here is too great for us to stick around. Try not to stay in the water for too long. If you look very closely on the left, you see that gauge there that's slowly going down. That represents how long the bug juice is in effect for. Let's re-equip these. And let's get our thermal goggles on because there's actually some traps here. Now, if you equip with the thermal goggles here, the thermal goggles are actually really good for spotting traps. Now, this is a pitfall trap here. If you go into that and you don't react, yeah, it's going to be game over. So make sure you avoid that. If you look over there, there's an item on that ridge over there, and that's actually the crocodile cap. We are going to go and get it, even though we probably don't need to, but we'll go and get it. In case that you watching this aren't sure how to get it.
Not so great.
We do really need some food. It's a shame we didn't pick up that Indian gavial meat, but it doesn't matter. So make sure you shimmy over here. Really don't want to fall in if you can help it, just given where we are and you're in crocodile infested waters. So make sure that when you drop here, you make sure you get ready to press X. Okay, well, maybe that didn't work out. Get out of there, snake. Let's put some bug juice on. Come on, snake, get out of there. That's the first time I've ever fallen off there and not make the the jump. But yeah, let's carry on. We might need to get some fish here. Notice our food's getting a bit low. The big fish are called arowana, and they always drop 2 lots of meat, so they're pretty good for food. Right, let's try this again. There we go. And shimmy all the way across. There's a few items down there as well. Just be careful of the crocs. Might get a bit of meat from him, actually. We'll take the suppressor off. No, stay there, mate, stay there. You, what I was saying. Stay there. Let's grab this meat. Just because it will come in handy in a minute. Right, let's swim very quickly across. Yeah, you really don't want to spend time in this water when there's crocs here, because they will come after you. If you look very closely there is a tripwire here. If you want to avoid a tripwire, you can roll over it, or you can crawl underneath it. You can set them off with your weapon, but sometimes it's not a good idea to do that because you can actually alert the enemy. Right. Should probably save here, so we'll do that now.
Saving the game, Snake?
Just because we've come quite a ways for us to
Hey, Snake.
screw up, so we'll save here. Now, as you can see, this fence is electrified. If you ever want to take care of the fence, aim for those little control panels there. Make sure you shoot them with a lethal weapon, a lethal round though, because the tranquilizer dart isn't going to penetrate. So just use the M1911 just to neutralise the fence. Now we need to get the mine detector on. Now the mine detector will beep. We'll get Flectarn on just because we don't want to waste any of our battery. Now the mine detector will beep when there's a claymore mine in the vicinity. As long as you're crawling, the claymore will not go off. Claymores will go off if you're crawling, if you're crouching or stood up. As long as you're on your belly, they'll never ever go off, and then you're just safe to go and pick them up. As you can see, there's some enemy dogs there, and this is where our meat's going to come in handy. But first and foremost, grab all the claymores. If you look really closely, there is a hole in that fence there, which is how we're going to access the next area. You can climb over the tree, but it's very, very risky just because you stand out like a sore thumb. So it's best not to climb over the tree. It's best to go through that hole there. But we do need to neutralise the fence first. Grab all these claymores. Should be one more. And then there's the control panel to the electric fence there as well, so let's shoot that. Now for dogs, they do have as you can probably imagine, they've got more detection powers than the human guards. But what you can actually do is distract them with a bit of meat. If you've got meat, they'll actually focus on that. And with luck, they'll actually go to sleep. They're quite close. I think we should be okay. Get the mine detector off, we don't need that on now. Yeah, but if you just throw down a bit of meat, it does help you get around the dogs. You can shoot them, of course, but that's not a very... I couldn't bring myself to do that. Now just be careful going through this swamp. This is another bottomless swamp, so try not to stay in it too long. We come up here onto this ridge. There is actually another camo along here, although in my playthrough I've already picked it up. But it's quite an important camo. It's the splitter camo, so it's really, really good for when you go into urban environments a little bit later. I seem to think that there's another enemy here. Get down. That's it. And this is where you actually find it, where I'm laying right now. It's quite a good spot just to do a bit of scouting as well. So as you can see, those two soldiers are guarding the way through. There is actually another way through. There's another hole in the fence, but it is electrified, so you want to make sure that you take out the panel first.
I think I saw something.
Oh, camo's not high enough. If an enemy does spot you from a distance, at a glance, just get your camouflage index really high and then just stop moving, and then the game is practically telling you just to check your camo, basically. It's like, yep, they can be careful, basically. Just go nice and slow here. And the enemy sentry there. Well, let's take out the Aleki fence. So now we can crawl through that hole there. There's another dog in the next area, so our last bit of meat hopefully should distract him, just so we can sneak through. There we go. Another tripwire there. In that stump there is actually the chocolate chip camo as well, so
There's nothing here.
hopefully the dog will fall asleep in a minute now he's had something to eat. Right, we should be through. Nicely done. Right. Let's hit the dirt. Just, the camo's out. Okay, actually. Now, in this base, you can actually run all the way around the outside and leave if you wish. You can clear this area quite quickly. However, there are some quite useful items here. So, we'll take a bit of a detour here. Just for the moment. There is a camo up on the roof. I think it's water camo, I think. But the item that I'm interested in is actually in this building here. And we're going to use the cardboard box here, just to good effect. There's also an armory here and some food stalls. So we can get ourselves some new weapons and some food as well, some long-lasting food. Come over here first of all. Knock on this wall.
Huh? What's that sound?
Make sure you equip the cardboard box here, just so we can hide in the corner. And what we're actually going to do is we're permanently going to incapacitate this guard by non-lethal methods. There is a way you can do it. And the good thing about this is no other enemy is going to find him or patrol through here. So it's a good way of doing it while we've got the opportunity to. So make sure your a gun is equipped. Throw him to the ground. Hold your gun up, and then that will get him to freeze. And then, as you'll see in a minute, his gun will disappear. And then as long as he's in this state, he's completely incapacitated. He will not move. The only way he will move is if an enemy discovers him. So you haven't got to worry about him anymore. Now that he's taken care of, we can raid this room here. And then this should be the suppressor for the MK19. So right, let's just check our camo. As you can see, they're not down for long after you trank them, so go back to sleep, mate. Go back to sleep. Now, if you want to go to the armory, the safest way to go is actually through this trench here. As long as you're going through this trench, and as long as you stay low, it's a good way of circumventing all the guards. However, they can still hear you while you're crawling, so just make sure, when you're going through the trench, make sure you hold the L1 button just to make sure you don't make any sound. Just wait a sec. Keep crawling through the trench. There is also some food supplies here as well, as I mentioned earlier, so we will need to visit there too. Just so we can get some food that will never ever go rotten, and that's very, very handy to have. Calorie mates and rations, I think they are, but right, there is an enemy soldier around here. Where is he? Oh, he's down there.
just my imagination.
Hopefully it's in a spot where he won't get spotted by a guard. Right, but the armory's right here. You can get yourself some TNT, stun grenades, M19 11A1 ammo. Yeah, it's a good place to come to get some more resources. There's also the hind here as well, and you can actually blow up the hind while it's stationed here. Although I really do like the set piece later when you're on the mountain and the hind's in the air, assisting the soldiers in finding you, and I really like that piece. So I always never ever blow up the hind. I really like that bit. It's
I hear something.
it doesn't actually make it any easier if you do take the hind out. It's what you'll have instead are enemies on flying platforms, and there's actually more of them, so it does actually make the game a little bit that portion of the game a little bit harder in my opinion. But right, let's just get this guy's attention, and then we'll go and get the jump on him. Yeah, we're getting a bit low for food.
There's nothing here.
So where we want to take him is actually around here. As long as he's around here, he won't get spotted. And then you want to throw him down here. And then exactly the same as the other guard.
Freeze.
Yeah, we could do a bit better than that. There we go.
Freeze.
Some medical supplies in here. And then we've just got to go to the hut over there, and then we're done here. Oh, is he back on his feet already? God, tranquilizer rounds don't last for long, do they? But there's a calorie mate, mouse trap, and some rations here, so we've got some food that will never ever go off, which is good to have. Get down, Snake! Yeah, I thought I missed pressing the crawl button then. But we're pretty much good to go now, so let's get out of here. Now, the second boss of the game is actually here. This is where we have to fight Ocelot. Now, this is one of only 2 bosses in the game where you can actually incapacitate him with lethal weapons. So you can actually use the M1911A1 for this fight, and you can actually use grenades. And the reason why we can do this is because in the cutscene, Ocelot is still alive at the end of it, and given the game's given the Metal Gear Solid saga, Ocelot will be alive for all of it anyway, so it's impossible for him to die, which makes sense. So even if you use lethal rounds on him, he'll still survive. So you can equip the M1911A1 and the grenades for this fight. You still can take him out with non-lethal rounds just to get a special camo, but because we've already unlocked that, it's pointless me doing it. So we're going to roll with the M1911 and the grenades for this next fight. And then once again, take your suppressors off because you don't need it for this fight. That was close, we almost got spotted then. So as soon as the battle begins, what you want to do is deal with these poisonous snakes first, because the last thing you want is having to deal with Ocelot and then bite you on the legs. So deal with them first. And there's the other one there. Right, from here, try and get a headshot on Ocelot if you can. Once you've taken a shot, he will go around the back of that tree to reload. One well-placed grenade here will get him. I think we got him. Can also shoot the hornet's nests down. Ah, there you are. Just be aware, if you do that, Ocelot will try and use the same tactic on you, so got him. And I think that'll be all for the first part of the playthrough. Just to try and break it up, I think. We do need to get the thermal goggles on. Just as this cave is pitch black and we need some source of light. Let's just grab a few... just kill a few of these crabs here, just because we do need some... we really do need to pick up some food. Just because I noticed we're getting a bit low on food. I mean, the rations and the calorie mate's okay, but I want to save them for when it's absolutely necessary, so we'll just get some other food for the time being. And I think we'll leave it here for the time being. And then up next, we'll be getting through this cave, getting the night vision goggles, which are really valuable. And then also our next boss battle, which will be against the pain, which is a pain. But that will be coming up in the next part. And then, in fact, I think the second part will take us up all the way through to the fear as well. So we'll do the pain and the fear in the next part of the playthrough. But I hope this serves as a bit of a good introduction for the playthrough that's to come. And I hope you guys all tune in next time.
Tasty.
So until then, I will see you guys very, very soon.